What's the difference between the Lady Automatic and Finissimo? It's the same volume. Because we talk about thickness, about diameter, but what matters is the volume, because you have to put together 200 to 250 components into the smallest potential volume. And then you can make it thick, or you can make it with a small diameter and a bit thicker.
These are really great.
Yeah, but without Finissimo, this wouldn't exist.
Yes.
Because basically, all the principles of Finissimo have enabled to create that movement.
Indeed.
A low volume movement. And the low volume movement, you can design it to make it thinner, but with a larger diameter.
Right.
Or thicker, but with a smaller diameter. And then it fits men and women alike.
You know, I have to say, this is a great watch even on my wrist. You know?
It's good. Yeah,
the Seditore, I think, is an absolutely spectacular watch. It's got mechanical movement now. And you know, it's funny because we're in this era of shaped watches.
Yeah.
But this is actually really elegant.
Cool
and with the bracelets, fantastic.
But it's a cool shape, I agree with you.
Absolutely.
But now, we want Serpenti to enter into the 21st century.
Right.
And from a literal expression, to add to the collection a more symbolic.
Right.
And the more symbolic means, like we've done in jewelry on Viper. Viper has been an important evolution of the Serpenti jewelry, which also was quite literal.
And incidentally very successful.
Crazy successful.
Really cool.
And we have applied the same philosophy, creating first an object of modern art, because it's very pure, very minimalist. And here, if you tell me it's a Serpenti, it's just because you are too much influenced by your job.
Right.
But I mean, first and foremost, what you see is a beautiful, pure contemporary design.
That's really cool.
But it's a watch.
Yeah.
It's a jewelry watch. This is the entry, which is gold and diamonds.
Right.
And starting at 80,000, which is even reasonable. And it's so easy. And to your point, so this is a small size, so for a man it would be a bit, but it's so easy and comfortable
I would totally
to wear.
this actually. That's so cool.
No, and this is really, you know, you have a piece of modern art on your wrist.
Yes. It's called Eterna.
And if you Eterna, exactly. And if you want to see a snake, you can see a snake.
Yes.
But if, like on Viper, you want to see a beautiful piece of modern design applied to watches, you see it as well. So it has a universality of symbolic design.
You know, it has this really wonderful, streamlined, very clean lines that reminds me almost of the sculpture of Constantine Brancusi. You know, yet at the same time, it's clearly coming from your iconography as well. And I think in an era also where guys are also embracing jewelry, something like this is really cool to wear, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the first Serpenti of the 21st century as a generation, because it's a totally new collection. Which comes on top of the existing collection, which we keep obviously developing with a lot of success.
That's really cool. I like bracelets as well, and so like the motif of this is really compelling. Right?
You know, all Serpenti are both bracelets and watches.
Yes.
This one is especially daring.
I think you could wear it like just as a bangle on your left wrist, and then you could have like a second time zone as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or we could have on the head. I mean, a second time zone here.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be really cool.
Because you know, here it's a beginning, so you have to say that.
Yes.
But I think it's a turning point in Serpenti history because the existing one is born in the 20th century.
Yes.
This one is born in the 21st, and that's the first one.
Now, Jean-Christophe, on that tray over there is now the world's thinnest tourbillon, and you unveiled this last night to, I have to say, great reception, and it's phenomenal. Right, 1.85 mm in terms of thickness, beating at 4 hertz, 42 grams,
and 243 components.
243 components.
About volumes.
Yes.
Imagine what it takes to put 243 components, including a tourbillon cage, into such
extraordinary. You know, and a shock-resistant tourbillon, from what I understand as well, because I know you guys even beta tested with one guy on the ski slopes wearing this watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it survived absolutely, right? So the other thing that I think is really important to understand is the Octofinissimos, even though it basically, I feel, created this kind of category of hyper slim, and you have a bit of competition from the likes of Richard Mille and so on, which is great.
It's welcome.
However, the Finissimo remains the only watch that you can operate without a tool, right? So
so the same principle at the Ultra Cosc of the last 2 years. So very simple to handle. You can rewind, you can adjust time. You always have this small detail, which is nice, which is a small second. You need good eyes, I have to admit.
Yes.
But I think it's part of the beauty of the watch, you know.
I have mine.
We don't.
I'm old.
That we don't compromise anything.
Right.
It's a 3-hand watch.
It's fantastic.
Hours, minutes, seconds. We want it HMS.
Yes.
And obviously, the first Finissimo was born, as you remember, in 14 as a tourbillon.
Right.
Match seeker. Yes. But at this time, it was a record tourbillon.
Yes, it was.
And 11 years later, it comes back. Actually, I mean, Bulgari is a tourbillon specialist.
Yes.
We are not the only one, but we are one of the few brands which are crafting a meaningful number of tourbillons every year for men and women alike, by the way, because we have also, I mean, Sapenti Seductory tourbillon, which is the smallest ladies tourbillon, and so we have applied that know-how to the Finissimo Ultra, which, when we thought and started the project, was far from being granted because no one had ever ventured in such a slim tourbillon. Maintaining, I mean, a reasonable power reserve because tourbillon is consuming. We are at 4 Hz additionally.
4 Hertz, 42 hours of power reserve, right? Brilliant. I love the evolution of the architecture as well. You have a greater sense of skeletonization on this, so you really see through the watch.
Yeah, exactly. We felt that, you know, the lightness is not only what you feel on your wrist, that is what the eye can see. And if it's a skeleton, it's lighter.
Yeah. And you also have changed it from a regulator to have the hour and minute integrated into one sub-dial as well, which is really fun too to have. So you've got an evolution in terms of
because we had to find room for the tourbillon.
Of course. That's absolutely fantastic.
So, you know, it looks like the Ultra Cosc, but it's so different from the Ultra Cosc.
Look from this perspective. That's extraordinary, you know. So Jean-Christophe, if I may ask you, and first may I congratulate you on your new role as the head of the watch division for LVMH Group.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you would like to see for the future in terms of all of your different watch brands.
I think the chance we have is that we have been only 25 years into that industry, even though our watches are much older. I mean, Zenith is celebrating 160 years this year. The first Bulgari was born in 1919. A brand like Tag Heuer was born also, I mean, in the 19th century, so only Hublot is relatively younger, born in 80. But what makes them really particular is that they are very different and complementary. We have the chance to have 4 different DNAs coming from different fields, one which is a more sporty field, one is more driven by materials, which is extremely interesting, one which is a bit more traditional, but master of probably the most prestigious chronograph in the world, the El Primero.
Of course.
And Bulgari, which came out of the blue, you know, as a jeweler, making since 1919 primarily jewelry watches, and in the last 30-40 years expanding to regular watches as well, with a success that no one was expecting. So I want to consolidate those 4 brands because I have to say that all have strengths and uniqueness which makes them very desirable, and to make sure that we further push what makes them different, but at the same time that we also work on synergies to be more efficient in everything we do, from retailing to some component that we could manufacture in different ways, which doesn't change anything to the brand integrity, but makes it easier to manufacture or even more cost efficient. So it's a product with the highest respect for its brand identity, but at the same time the collective, and this is shared by my fellow CEOs working together with me, to be as a player, LVMH, a bigger and bigger player, not necessarily adding more brands to the portfolio. Also, let's not forget that beyond LVMH watches, you have big brands like Louis Vuitton who are very strong in watches. Let's not forget that.
Yes.
Tiffany is coming to watches as well. Dior has also gained a lot of respect for the watches. So the group eventually has many brands. Not to forget L'Epée, which is wonderful. It's part of LVMH watches. They are not in Watches and Wonders, but they will be at the other fair in August. And so I think we have a unique opportunity as a group to turn that watch business into a major one, just because the brands have a lot of complementarity, a lot of relevance, and the spirit which binds them, going from one booth to the other, is passion for innovation. Whether you go to Hublot, to Tag Heuer, to Zenith, for the 160, they have there going blue ceramics, which is a bit unexpected, but it works. No, it's good, and this is really the spirit which has been, I think, obviously ignited by Mr. Arnault, calling LVMH la passion créative, creative passion, and this is what is binding LVMH watches as well.
I have to talk to you, of course, about one brand which you were, of course, the CEO of at one point. Now the person that was the head of your watch division has gone to be the CEO. He's also a person that loves Tag Heuer, and that's Antoine Peynaud. Now, it's so wonderful to have this brand reconnected as the official timekeeper of F1.
Yeah, that's right.
And it gives you this sort of singularity in terms of precision timing, telling the difference between victory and defeat, always on the victory side. But when you were there, you created some of the most incredible watches from an innovation perspective, right? Remember the V4, the micro timer, the micro girder, the double tourbillon. Like, these watches were mind-blowingly cool. Do you feel that there's an avenue for Tag Heuer to re-express itself, connected always as a precision timekeeper related to F1?
Well, Tag Heuer will ever stand for the ultimate precision combined with the glamour dimension of Formula One, because Formula One is not only the ultimate sport in performance, but when you go to a Grand Prix, it's a festival of glamour, and Tag Heuer has to embody those two dimensions. So what you see this year in Basel is more the glamour dimension, the new Formula One collection, colorful, joyful, playful, but Formula Ones. And of course, with Antoine, we have projects to bring also novelties on the precision side. We have, I think, all the basics and the learning on that. It's something which has been a bit sidelined in the past years, right after I left the company myself. But the know-how is there, the watchmakers are there, and I think that coming back to Formula One, it makes even more sense than ever to revive that, I would say, ultimate technology part of the brand, to further assert our total domination in ultimate precision chronographs.
I love that. Jean-Christophe Babin, you're a legend, sir. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the tourbillon.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on your new role, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
And it's a sheer pleasure, and we'll celebrate that in Singapore in my next trip.
With pleasure. Thank you, sir.